Hey everybody, Andy here, CEO of ScalarSites.com. Learn how to grow and scale your e-commerce or lead generation business. So you're seeing this ad right now because I've targeted you on Facebook, Google, Twitter, or something like that, okay? And if this is jiving with you, your ROI is not doing as well as it should, as you'd like it to create a profitable business. And there's a lot of reasons why this happens. And we'd like to think that we're in some sort of advanced civilization with all this artificial intelligence stuff connecting these sites together. But that's simply not the case. So Scalar Sites is a platform that is attempting to do just that, having one unified platform to make everything work. So I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, like what is scaling your business? So I've asked many people running all these workshops and so forth, and I've devised an answer, and I'm building the software to provide as a solution. So let's just start somewhere. Let's start off with your website. Okay, this is your website, sort of core to your business. Okay, uh, and then how do we take this website and make it sell something? So we're going to put a little module in here for e-commerce, right? And if you do something like WordPress, you have to go install WooCommerce or something like that, and they're not native to each other. Like, it's a totally different group of people who wrote each piece of software. So just for example, Scalar Sites it's built from the ground up together. And you can see other platforms like Shopify. They built one platform, but they didn't really. They made a marketplace for a bunch of other developers to go in and you know write mediocre software and charge you more money. So what are some of the other tools that we need in order to scale? Well, in my opinion, the first thing that we need is customers. So we're going to have some customers over here. And they're not really customers yet. Let's change this to visitors, okay? So here's all of our traffic. And this is an infinite source of potential energy, okay? So visitors, okay? Now, in order to make money, we need to get them to our website so they can go through our e-commerce plugin over here. And this is a very simple diagram. However, the more visitors that we market to, in most cases, if this is as simple as you have it, you're going to lose money. Why is that? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to do in this area here. We need to analyze what is occurring so we can feed that data back into who we target for visitors. Let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, so where do these visitors come from? Well, before we can really get visitors, we need to advertise. And let's choose Facebook, and we'll choose Google down here. And yeah, okay, this is sort of the top of the funnel, if you've ever heard that before. These are going to be customers that have never seen your product before. And as these products, these platforms, they let you make adjustments, okay? So we can put in filters, and what are we going to do for filter? Little F for a filter, okay? And what that is that's targeting. Yeah, you know what? That's a better way to do it. Okay, and so targeting. So we'll say we'll have this as like a giant funnel, and you can get all sorts of traffic. But then we apply these targetings, and ideally we end up with sort of much thinner, much more detailed flows of visitors. Okay, so these are all of our visitors: visitor, 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 visitor. Okay, and Facebook and Google aren't doing the best job on these filters. They're going to let a bunch of other people in. Okay, and now let's assume that this Facebook guy comes in and he completes your funnel and makes a sale. But before that happened, he actually left and then actually came back in through a Google retargeting ad and made a purchase. Okay, Google is now going to claim that Facebook conversion. Okay, and the reason that's going to occur is because they're at war with each other. Okay, so if you're running ad campaigns on this ad and you make a sale and it's not showing you that in your dashboard, something happened. You got other forces in there like Apple in the iOS 14 update that will remove all of the, not all of, but a bunch of the data to let you know what's going on. Okay, so what we need to do is in order to feed back from our e-commerce conversion and funnel money back in order to create an ROI, we need to analyze in much more detail what those visitors are doing and where they're doing that from. And this is called universal tracking metrics. Okay, and there's a bunch of companies out there charging an insane amount of money, if you've heard of them, and they're definitely making people more money. So the theory of this is called universal tracking metrics, and that basically analyzes each and every single visitor. When they come in, they're going to have information stored about them on a computer system that sits in front of your website. Okay, and this is where our UTM metric comes in. Okay, and what is UTM, Universal Tracking Metrics? What does that mean? Well, we can identify, you'll see in the URL, source equals Facebook or Google. And what happens is you'll see, these guys are Facebook and these guys are Google. And of course you know that. You can go and check in your dashboard over at Facebook and Google, and you can see your total traffic, and maybe you've got Google Analytics and everything like that, but that tracking actually isn't the best. I mean, think about it. They gotta monitor billions of clicks. So you really want your own system in there, okay? And so we've built that at Scalar Sites. And then the idea is that we can take this one guy here, okay? So here's a visitor, and we're going to remember him, and I'm going to put him in a star because he's going to become important to us, okay? He's Victor the visitor, okay? And so we're going to record his IP address, which network he came from, his campaign ID, the ad creative ID, and maybe the placement. And that all happens automatically with Scalar Sites. Okay. Now, why we want that is because let's say our star visitor guy here came in and made a purchase. That should trigger a conversion pixel back to one of these ad networks. But that's not occurring sometimes. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And when you want to try to scale up your ads, if you don't know which ad you're running, like you might have an ad that is super successful and turn it off because that data is not getting to you. And it could also be that the ad is super successful at attracting customers, and not every customer is going to buy right away. So we need to put them into an email funnel and retargeting funnel and examine that over like 30 to 90 days. Okay? But if you don't have information, like let's say this guy here, he comes in and he looks at the website and he drops. But now we're going to have some retargeting. So that could come from Facebook, it could come from Google, but it could also just come from, oh my God, I need this product, but I'm going to wait till payday. So our current, our visitor here, he's going to come back in 4 days. And he's going to come back and he's going to look and he's going to drop off the website again. Okay. So we don't really have a way for Facebook or Google to tell us that that happened, do we? No, we don't. You might have a metric like returning visitors, but I want to know that this guy from this IP, whatever, I want to have data on that IP address specifically and uniquely. And Scalar Sites allows us to do this with our CRM integrated into our UTM, okay? And that all just comes as a package. If you go with somebody else, you're going to have to install UTM stuff and a CRM and try to make them talk. And you're going to lose data, and it's going to be complicated, and it's going to cost you money. So let's say 26 days later, our star visitor here, the guy who eventually converts, he comes in, and he converts, and we make our $50 or whatever. There's a huge probability that even if you've got your Facebook and Google pixels listening, it will not send the data. So you've been running ads for like 30 or 60 days, and you've got some initial success, but your ROIs don't seem right. I mean, I countless times I've made 3 sales in a day on my, say, Shopify store, and I go and I check like I'm running an exclusive Facebook ad on this, and there's absolutely no data. And you might go, oh my God, I got to turn my Facebook ad off because it's not working. When in fact it is working. Facebook engineering is just not, the greatest. I mean, think about the billions of clicks per minute that they have to monitor. Let's say for 1 minute that click just hangs or something. You're turning off your winning ad for that reason. Okay, for no reason. Sorry, you're turning it off. Now, there's much more to this. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a little bit more about what Scalar Sites does. This I went into tracking because this is really where it begins. We want to make your website return an ROI, return on investment, right? And that way we can feed more money into our ad networks. So what other things can we do? Well, we can have a pop-up. Don't leave, which you've probably seen on Scalar Sites and entered in yourself. And we have an email here, okay? And we use these tactics. We must use these tactics because we're going to take those visitors, and here's a visitor, and these guys are going to end up dropping off the website. But there's one guy who is just like you, who's very interested in the offering. So our random visitor now becomes Greg. And Scalar Sites will remember that this visitor visited us, say, 3 times and then became Greg. And we'll never think about him as a visitor again because he's our esteemed guest. He's Greg. And that's all we know about him. Well, actually, we'll know that he's Greg. His first name and his name is Greg at Gmail. And I actually know exactly which campaign he came from, either from Google or from Facebook, the campaign ID, and his IP address. And if he checks our site from home and he goes to he goes from his desktop to his handheld device, we are going to be able to track that as well, and we're going to put a cookie on that device, and we're going to start to like learn about what devices he has and the frequency that he changes his devices and all sorts of stuff. And these are the things that you have to be doing in order to scale into $100,000 reliably a month. Okay, so we were looking at these pop-up forms, pops. There are probably 10 providers right now that I would recommend that you could use, and probably only 2 of them are any good. But the problem is they're really expensive. Okay, so where would you rather put your money? Into your website, into your ads, or into your stupid little pop-up program, right? So this thing starts costing you money, and the more that you actually do start to scale up, well, guess what? These guys scale their prices up too, okay? So it's pretty crazy that your website doesn't have that out of the box, and you have to go search for it. And then you have to integrate it, and then you might need some technical guy to go in and install the code to do it. And Scalar Sites does it all. We have the pop-ups, we have the flyouts, we have the exit intents, all that kind of stuff, okay? And a lot of these programs that you're using are going to put those people into a list manager, and you know, that's cool. And then the idea behind that is that we can now send them emails, okay? And this will be called automations. And we can do things like, say the customer is coming in and they're going through the e-commerce, but they actually drop off, but they have stuff in their cart. We can now use automations to say, hey, Greg, don't leave. You know, like, why did you leave, Greg? That's what I want to know. Why did Greg leave with something in his cart and not make a buying decision? Okay? Why did that happen? So I'm just going to update this a little bit because we're going to have our UTM filter. And now we're going to get a little bit more detailed in our website. And we have a plugin or a module here for e-commerce, okay? And our website is going to have a flyout, a sign up for discount box, which you probably used, and we're also going to have a exit intent. But okay, and so what has to happen now is we need to be able to take this and we need to go into email marketing. Okay, and did you know that it can take 60 plus days to make a buying decision? And on average, 7 emails from your company will be opened from this customer. So Greg will think about it for 60 days and read probably 7 of these emails that you sent. If you sent out 60 emails, 1 every day, guaranteed 100% that he'll have read 7 of those emails, okay? Now, what happens if you're not doing that? What happens to your ROI? Your ROI, this is a source of negative ROI. And you can think about that email marketing. Here's another targeting that we're going to do on Facebook here and Google. We're going to put retargeting in over here. Retargeting in over there. And that's going to feed us a very small amount of traffic, okay? But guess what? You're paying for that. And you're paying for that. And if you don't have the UTM filter on there, you really don't have a great idea and an understanding if you know, those are working and which channels, which ad campaigns in Google and Facebook are actually responsible for this retargeting loop. Okay, it's getting a little bit sloppy on the screen, but if you're not doing that and if you don't know, you're losing money over here. Okay? So let's go into email targeting. And here's some ways that we increase ROI over here. Let's say they did not buy. Geez, that's a lot of lines. Let's say they did not. They didn't buy. So we want to send them emails in a sequence informing them of reasons to buy. And each time that we send that email, we want to have a very good call to action, them going up there. And we don't want to make them start over. We want to have their items in the cart. We'll have a little plumbus in there. Okay? And, I mean, your retargeting would do the same thing. Ideally, it would attach in there. Okay? And if you don't have a UTM hooked in, it can work. It just depends. You know, if they check from a different device, though, they're not going to have their stuff in the cart. And that will lead to a small decrease in ROI. Where this will lead to an increase in ROI. Yippee! Okay? Now, what happens if this customer has a question? Okay? Let's say Greg has a question. Well, they can go on Facebook and they can shoot you a message, right? Facebook Messenger, or they can go on and send you an email, or maybe they can even shoot you a text message. Now we're getting into CRM, Customer Relationship Management. And by the way, Scalar Sites has CRM built in. So I'm just going to go and just show you real quick that UTM is built in, CRM is built in, website is built in, opt-in is built in, e-commerce is built in, email marketing is built in. So, you know, that's what Scalar Sites is. I hope you're starting to see the picture now, because we've been on here for about 25 minutes or so. And I hope you're learning something and starting to see the bigger picture. Okay, so now we can have a visitor. You know what, I like, kind of haven't used custom colors yet. So we're going to have a guy who comes through the UTM, comes in, he starts looking around, he goes, oh, okay, you know what, I'll put my first name and email address in, and then I'm going to bounce. Okay? And later on, he sees a Google retargeting ad, and he comes over, and we know that this guy has visited us twice now. And he keeps looking, and he gets over to cart, and he drops. And a couple days later, he gets an email about a flash sale, or get $10 off, or get free shipping, or you don't even need to provide a discount. You just need to provide continuity. And so he comes in over here, and then he decides to contact. So what the CRM will do is it'll provide information about this visitor. So I can see first visit was Monday. I can see all subsequent visits. And now during the communication, I can actually say, hey, Greg, look, I've seen you've been checking out our website a whole bunch. Let me ask you a question. What's the reason you're not buying our product today? Let me know if you have any questions. And the way that works is it's also ticket management, and we can tag this customer. Let's say he needs boss's permission. We could actually tag Greg and send out another email platform about how to get your boss to say yes to new product offers, for example. Okay, and every time you do that, your ROI is going to go up, because eventually Greg is going to come in here and he's going to complete that e-commerce loop. And again, that conversion pixel may not feed back into your Google or Facebook. So this ad that you initially attracted the customer on 78 days ago, in some cases 300 days ago, you ran a successful ad campaign, but you turned it off because you didn't see immediate results on Facebook or on your pixel information. So this is the real truth to ads, to scaling your company. You need all of these things in here. And you can go get a 30-day free trial, 30 days for free. To get this all hooked up, most importantly for you, if you're an established business, is you must get the tracking online. If you're a startup business, this stuff over here, man, this is something we can help you with too. And my kid's screaming in the background. So if you don't know how to set this stuff up, we actually have the resources and staffing to build this entire funnel system for you, because we built the software ourselves. So we can literally just deploy, swap in your logo, and start collecting you leads and create sales. And if you don't know how to create a product and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to start an e-commerce business, but you have no idea what product to build, we have a training program that will show you how to target your Google and your Facebook customers. And we'll work with you to develop the entire thing. Because the way our billing system works is that for every visitor that you come in, we charge you a small amount of money. For every visitor, okay? We don't care if they buy, sell, we don't do any commissions, nothing like that. It's just purely based on your traffic. So if we can show you how to increase your traffic, which if you use our system, feeds back and creates your positive ROI, you're going to put in more traffic, and we make money off your traffic. So it's super duper fair. And come over to scalarsites.com/Andy if you've seen this and get a free 30-day trial. And I'm looking forward to getting you set up, and good luck.